Patriots versus the Charlestown Chiefs. Brought to you by Sheehan's Rustproofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
Cut out the coffee, cut out those energy drinks that make you crash, and put yourself in a position to succeed with an energy boost from RockinThatIDLife.com. You'll be energized, focused, and you'll even experience an elevated mood for up to 6 hours. Check out RockinThatIDLife.com to learn more.
A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston.
You're watching Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast with your hosts Kurt Price, Bill Day, and what appears to be a Peter Dinklage cosplay. So just sit back, grab a beer, and enjoy the best blues hockey talk on YouTube.
Welcome to episode 28 of season 14. This is episode number 509 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Check out the Let's Go Blues Minute wherever you get podcasts. It provides you with a daily look into the St. Louis Blues in a quick hit fashion. Find us wherever you get podcasts and smash that subscribe button. It is Tuesday, April 8th, and we are streaming live to the masses. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio and like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by Bill Day. Kurt Price is facing allegations for charging tariffs to other podcasts without the consent from Bill and myself. The agenda for tonight includes the Blues' winning streak ending, Blues Nation losing a beloved goaltender and dancer, Alex Ovechkin making history, and more on this monumental and tremendous episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. So as I mentioned, no Kirk tonight, but we have Bill Day in the house. Bill, how's it going?
Oh, recovering from the crud, as I like to say. So no beverage out of the alcoholic variety for me tonight, but feeling much better than I was just a couple days ago. So thank God for prednisone.
Yes. I know I've told that I had a week-long flu a couple weeks ago, and God, that was brutal. So I feel your pain. I'm glad you're on the mend. You sounded fine last week. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting a little bit more of this by the end of the episode, but you sounded all right. So
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah. Fake it till you make it.
That's right. We got a couple announcements to open the show here. First of all, NCAA games are coming up at Enterprise Center. Bill, again, with you kind of getting over the crud, do you still plan on going? And what games are you going to?
I'm going to all 3 of them. So,
nice.
Yeah, I bought the inclusive, or the 3-game thing back in. Actually, I looked at it the other day. Halloween. I bought my tickets on Halloween.
Nice.
I am happy to be taking my brother-in-law, though he is not a huge hockey fan. He works for Penn State, so giving him the opportunity to see Penn State play in their first Frozen Four, it's a pretty awesome thing. So. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to some good hockey. So really looking forward to seeing Zeev Booyam in person. watching him in the tournament so far is just like the guy just dominates games, and
Yep.
he's going to be a nightmare for us on Minnesota for the next 5 years.
Yep. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I always hate seeing, like, you see these guys, Connor Bedard obviously comes to mind, but like you see these guys coming up and you're like, oh, I'm so excited. This dude's so good. Who's going to draft him? And then he goes to like a Minnesota or Chicago, and it's, I'm going to have to hate you in like 3 years.
Yeah.
So, yep. Rough stuff. So that's Thursday. What time are the games? Have you announced them yet?
4 and Thursday it's 4 and 7:30.
4 and
then
7:30.
Saturday is 6:30.
Yep. So Thursday is going to be a little rough for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make those for coverage, but I will be at Saturday night's game, 6:30 start here at Enterprise Center. So again, if any of you fans are planning on going and watching, and we'd love to meet up with you. So just let us know if you'll be there, and we'll do a little Let's Go Blues radio meetup. I will be there covering it again, like I did the PWHL takeover, and look forward to that. Never covered college before, so I'm sure and I've been to college games, but covering it, I'm sure, is a completely different animal with, the way that they handle media access coverage. So looking forward to kind of experiencing that, but happy to be there covering the NCAA. This will be a fun tournament. The last time I went to a college game, it was when they had, what was it called? The Breakaway Tour or whatever it was called. It was like
I vaguely
08 or
recall
09. Yeah.
They were trying to keep the momentum going after having the Frozen Four at 07. So yeah, that's 08, 09, 10, something like that.
This is good. We were get to my beers in an episode, but I told Bill earlier I'm having a new one tonight, and I like it. So I'm going to tease that. We will talk more about beer in a minute. But yeah, so that starts this Thursday and Saturday. Very much looking forward to that in the city of St. Louis, hosting the Frozen Four. Ken Morris has a comment here in the chat. Ken, we will get to your comment here in a minute, where we've got basically the whole first segment is dedicated to your comment. So we will get to that in a minute. And then I also want to add white jerseys. If you've ordered one, they have been ordered. We made our first order. Actually, it was yesterday. Excuse me. So I would say for those of you who bought one, I'd say 5 weeks, 6 to be safe. But yeah, they will be here very soon. So we will be in touch whenever I know those are on the way, and you will be getting your jerseys soon. So very excited about that. One other thing, and also real quick, everyone has paid me except for one person, and he is a host of the show, and he's not here tonight. So.
So additional allegations.
Yes, more allegations. That's what I should have used. Yeah. Not here tonight because he refuses to pay me for the jersey order. And then one more announcement I wanted to make. So I think I mentioned it last week or maybe in the week before. Our friend Michael Hebert over at Oilers Live and heavyhockey.com. I wrote a post for him about the PWHL takeover tour, not for him, for his site. Again, heavyhockey.com. And I just discussed everything that I witnessed at the PWHL takeover tour here in St. Louis. Tried to capture the really tried to capture the moment. Is that what it is?
Capture the spirit of the thing.
Capture the spirit of the thing. Damn it. Really tried to capture the spirit of the thing. And yeah, I did. I tried to, I talked to people in the crowd. Tom Calhoun, I interviewed him for it. And then our friend Crappy Goalie, his daughter was at the game. She's an aspiring goaltender. Talked to her about it. So yes, if you have the time, please go over to heavyhockey.com. Right now, it is currently the #1 story on there. So check that out if you haven't. And if you did not attend the PWHL takeover game, you missed a lot. So I tried to do my best to describe what it was like being in the arena for those of you who may not have been there. Well, let's get into official beers of episode number 509. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. I actually just posted on there this beer I'm drinking tonight. I am Jay Ponder 94. Kurt can be found at Seat Price 12. Bill is Billy Blue Note 33. Well, Bill, you don't have anything to drink tonight, so we're going to start with me anyway.
Yeah. I don't have alcohol to drink.
Yes. So we will get to you with what you are sipping on tonight. I actually have one that I've never had before, as I've said. It's from Off Color Brewing, and it's called Beer for Ball Games. And this is kind of the can art that I've seen a lot of their beer have. They have one that's called like Beer for Tacos. There's a couple other ones they have. They call this one an American style cream ale. And it says they've got malts, 2-row caramel malt, dextrin malt, flaked corn, flaked barley. Their hops are nougat, Willamette, and Cascade. And then it says, "Hey, Dad, want to have a beer?" Yeah, the answer is always yes to that question. And yeah, it says it's American style cream ale. So yes, this is good. It's not as good as, oh my Lord, I'm drawing a blank of
Love Gun.
Love Gun. Thank you. Love Gun is my favorite cream ale I've ever had. But this one's pretty good. It kind of mixes. It's very much if like you were to properly mix like a Mick Ultra with like a cream soda. And I kind of dig it. It's very good. So for those of you who haven't had it, I know, like I said, I got it at Friar Tuck. Bill said he saw it at Randall's. Very good. Unfortunately, it is brewed in Chicago, so I want to give you a fair warning there. But this is a good Chicago beer, much better than Old Style. Bill, what do you got tonight?
Not Old Style. That's for damn
Thank God.
Sure. So I'm not partaking of the booze. I have a black cherry ginger ale. Completely blanking. The Canadian one. My mind's not good.
Molson, Labatt.
No, not. It's not beer. Anyway, yeah. So it's just nice, really good black cherry flavor. I love like cherry white sodas. Like cherry 7-Up, one of my all-time favorites. So this hits the spot. And when I do drink, put a little bourbon in here and have a highball. It's damn good.
Oh yeah. Any kind of cherry soda, I've mixed it with bourbon, and I've never gone wrong. Let's put it like that. My wife drinks the wild cherry Pepsi Zero, and I always mix that with bourbon on the weekends, and I love it. It's always so good. So yeah, you can never go wrong with those.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right. Well, let's make the uneasy transition into what is our somber first segment. We unfortunately lost a couple members of the Blues family this week. First of all, Bill and I are paying homage to the first gentleman we're going to mention here. I'm wearing an old school Blues jersey, the Butte that we all seem to love. You can see it's a little short. It's not exactly the best size for me, which is why I don't really wear it anymore, but I do still have it. So I wanted to put it on tonight. And Bill, you're wearing the wonderful, I don't know, is that the John Hamm hat? Or is that
it's of that style, but you know, it clearly hasn't been worn for 25 years in California sun and beach scenarios where it loses all its color. Now this is just actually I picked this up 2-3 years ago. But that classic logo, the classic, the not too much red.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
this guy here, and then I'll try to pull up the striping there as well. Thank God I'm wearing an undershirt.
Damn straight.
Yeah, I mean that to me is the 90s Blues jersey that we need to be mimicking for, reverse retros, winter classics, whatever. And for some reason they just have not done it yet. That was such a good era of Blues hockey. But anyway, so yes, a member of that era of Blues hockey, Mr. Greg Millen, unfortunately, has passed away at the age of 67. He played goal for 6 NHL teams across 14 seasons between 1978 and 1992 before finding his way into broadcasting with the Ottawa Senators in their inaugural season in 1992-1993. He was selected by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 6th round at 102nd overall of the 77 draft. He has played with the Penguins, the Hartford Whalers, St. Louis Blues, Quebec Nordique, Chicago Blackhawks, and Detroit Red Wings, and he compiled a record of 215, 284 with 89 ties. And then remember the era here, folks. His GAA is 3.88 and save percentage of an 873 with 17 shutouts in 604 games. In 59 Stanley Cup playoff games, he was 27-29 with a 343 GAA and 885 save percentage in 59 games. I put that twice. Career with the Blues, he was 85, 87, and 33 with an 880 save percentage, 344 GAA with 9 shutouts. He is 7th all-time in wins for the Blues, 6th in shots against with just under 6,000, 6th in saves with just under 5,300, and then 6th in minutes played as well with 12,342. I think the thing that I take away, especially, and Bill, obviously, you're our goalie guy. I know you saw Greg Millen play a ton. The 1986 playoff run, Greg Millen was a part of that team. And for me, he's a friend of the show, quite literally. He came on the show, was I'm not even kidding when I say one of my favorite guests we've ever had. Just so open, and obviously, with the broadcast background, he was so open to talk about anything. Very likable guy. If you ever heard him on the radio, you could hear, I'm sorry, on Hockey Night in Canada, you can just tell that he's just one of those guys that you see him, in the runway after a game, he will stop and talk to you like a Bernie Federko, and just, talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. Just an unbelievable dude. And I was even actually getting ready to reach out to him to see if he want to come back on this summer, because he was such a fun interview. And actually, I think we talked about it on one of our shows, because one of the big things that we talked about was the Jeff Brown trade, which he was involved in. And we said we should have a show where we get Brownie and Greg Millen on and have them both talk about the trade together. And I thought that would have been a lot of fun. So unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But that's not the only reason we're upset here. Greg Millen, unbelievable broadcaster, excellent goalie in his time for the St. Louis Blues. Lots of great memories for him. And absolutely just, and I didn't put it in here, but the Alumni Association was the one who kind of broke the news, and they did call his death sudden. They have not said what it is, but it's very unfortunate. And I was devastated when I heard this news, Bill. As a goalie who grew up watching Greg Millen play, I'm sure this was even harder for you to see.
Yeah. Watching Millen play in the 80s, it was kind of bittersweet for me, because he was the guy that was in the Liut trade, right? He was with Hartford, and so for me, losing my idol, it took me a while to get used to it, but eventually, it was kind of like the two-headed monster with Millen and Walmsley, and I was never a Walmsley fan. So I gravitated more towards Millen. A couple of things I'll throw out. My earliest memory of him, the 82 playoff series against the Penguins. I had a yellow helmet, very similar to what he wore, so I identified with it. But then he was like, one of the highlights of that series was him dancing to the Budweiser song in between plays, and like that got a lot of media attention at the time, and I thought it was hilarious, and I loved it. So and then the other thing, he was part of the Aeroflex posse that brought in the first truly foam-based pads to the NHL. Very distinctive. style. There were a handful of guys in the league that wore him. He and Reggie Lemelin were the first two that I recall wearing those, and I think maybe Darren Pupa had them for a season. But yeah, it definitely helped, bring in a new era of things that weren't just leather wrapped over deer foam or deer hair that got waterlogged. So a little bit of a pioneer there. But yeah, he was such a competitor, had one of the most unorthodox save styles. I don't know how many times you'd watch him catch a puck between his pads and squeeze it and fall over. That doesn't happen in this day and age. It did happen a lot at that time, but he was very effective at it. So
Yep.
Very, very sad when I heard the news yesterday.
Yep. And I'll say, so again, we had him on during our what we called the Past to the Future segments, where we interviewed somebody from the Blues alumni, and then the second half of the show was talking to somebody who's covered one of the Blues prospects at the time. And excuse me. Yeah, he came on and was just an absolute joy. I mean, I know I said it already, but he had so many good stories. He laughed the whole interview, there was just laughter with him and me, because he just painted such a fun picture of his days in the NHL. He told a couple different stories. Again, we mentioned the Jeff Brown one, but one of my favorites he told was the story about Baz Bastine, who was the Penguins GM at the time when he was drafted, and he had ended up and again, like, thinking about how social media is today, this would never have happened back in the day. But apparently when the Whalers came to him and said, "Hey, we want to sign you," and he was talking with his agent, and he was like, "I want to stay in Pittsburgh." And he's like, "Well, Pittsburgh's not answering." And he's like, "But I want to stay in Pittsburgh." And he's like, "This offer is on the table. We need to take it." So he finally took it. And then, like, 2 days later, he gets a call from Baz Bastine, the GM of the Penguins. And he was like, "What the hell? I hear you signed." And he's like, "Yeah, we tried to get in touch with you, but I just, we haven't heard from you. So I had to sign. I didn't know if I had a contract." Apparently, Baz Bastine was on vacation and he, like, could not be reached. Like, they even, like, called his secretary. She's like, "He's on vacation. There's no way to get in touch with him." Again, by today's standards, that would never happen in a million years. Bastine would have been fired instantly. But back in those days, that's just kind of how it was. So,
right, I'm sure he was up at a cottage in Northern Ontario.
I'm guaranteed doing a little
everybody
fishing.
goes.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, he told that story among many others. Pranks by teammates, that kind of thing. So we did just reshare that interview on all your podcasting apps, wherever you get this show, as well as on YouTube and Facebook. We shared the video there as well. If you're interested in hearing that interview, even if you've heard it before and you want to hear it again, again, one of my favorite interviews we've done on this show in our entire 14-year run. So I recommend it if you haven't heard it. It's top of your podcast list right now. If you go check us out on Let's Go Blues Radio, wherever you listen or watch our show.
I will second. That is my favorite interview that you've ever done. The Jeff Brown story by itself, like, that's worth the price of admission every time.
So we got a couple comments here from our friend Ken Morris, who obviously was alive during Greg Millen's run and remembers him fondly, as we all do. I will say I remember the very tail end of his career here. And obviously I know him best, not only as a guest of Let's Go Blues Radio, but as the voice on CBC's Hockey Night in Canada. That's how I best knew him. So again, when I interviewed him and just hearing his voice, I'm like, oh, this is the voice of my childhood. Like, grew up listening to him talk in my teenage years. But Ken Morris, He says, R.I.P. Greg Millen. I will always remember your 1986 performance with the Blues in the Clarence Campbell finals against the Flames. Ken adds that the Blues run in 86 was one of the most favorite playoff performances. Blues would have beaten the Habs in the 1986 finals. I think I agree with that. I do think the Blues could have won that series against the Habs.
I disagree with that.
You don't think so?
No, we would have been up against Patrick Waugh, and there was no beating him that year.
I liked the Blues' offense that year. They looked good.
They were, but I think the Rangers probably had a better offense and Waugh shut them down in the conference final. So I think Patrick Waugh was a goalie of destiny, and we would have had our hearts broken.
Either way, it would have been an exciting Stanley Cup final if the Flames just wouldn't have gotten in our way. But yes, very sad. And again, please check out that interview that I had with Mr. Millen. Absolutely stunned by his loss, and obviously everyone here at Let's Go Blues Radio, including Kurt, and I know all of our listeners. Our best goes out to Greg's family, as well as every life he touched, which was a lot, including our own. So for those of you who knew Greg personally, our condolences go out to you. Unfortunately, he was not the only loss this week. We also lost Jeremy Wolf. Those of you who hear that name, you might say, who is that? Well, he is best known as the Cotton Eye Joe dancer. So if you went to a Blues game in the mid-2000s, up until probably about 18, 17, 18, something like that, he was around. I mean, he did it for a while. They would flash the kind of strobe light right there at the top shelf area, and he'd come down and he would do the Cotton Eye Joe dance. And it was awesome. He would always be on the big screen. Everybody would dance along with him. Just a fun dude. I met him one time. He was very kind, very cool, and thanked me for recognizing him. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're awesome. You're a staple of Blues games. Unfortunately, we did lose him this week as well. So, again, did not know him personally, Bill. I don't think you did either. But
no.
Again, just a big part of the Blues family that we have here.
Yeah, didn't know him, but knew. Of course, I knew who he was. One of the. For a while, it felt like going to a game. That there were multiple Blues fans that were part of the fabric of the game, including Jeremy. Right, and it wasn't just Towel Guy, and it felt part of it and something I enjoyed. To have that energy to do that every night, that's pretty crazy. I would have fallen over the railing. And condolences to his family. And it's another terrible loss for the Blues family.
Yep, agree. So we did actually prepare a little bit of a tribute to our fallen Blues family members here. We're gonna go to break right after this, so please enjoy this slight tribute we have to Jeremy Wolf and Greg Millen, and then please join us in a moment of silence as soon as you hear the music stop, and then we will go to break, and we'll be right back to talk about a little bit more uplifting stuff, but definitely I want to raise a glass to Greg Millen and Jeremy Wolf. I know you don't have a beer, Bill, but good enough. You are drinking something. So
Canada Dry. That's what
Canada Dry. There it is. There it is. Not Molson, not Labatt. But yes, cheers to our fallen soldiers. And we hope you enjoy this tribute we made for them.
Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Where did he come from? And where did he go? Where did he come from? Cotton Eye. We'd be married a long time ago. If it weren't for cutting eyes, she'd be married a long time ago. If it weren't for cutting eyes.
We'll return after these messages.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the paddle down.
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Flip past the Hall. He shoots. He scores.
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Hey guys, it's Jeff. You know, the fun, energetic host of Let's Go Blues Radio. I know I give off a natural energy and cheerful glow, but as I've gotten older, I've realized I need a kick in the pants to get going. I've tried it all, from forcing myself to drink coffee to picking up an energy drink every morning, but none of it provided true, sustainable energy without crash. Luckily, my friend Dustin at RockinThatIDLife.com told me about their product, Energy, which provides exactly what I need. The first thing I do every morning is fill up my shaker bottle with water and a small energy packet, and within minutes of drinking it, my day truly begins. I feel motivated to get going on my work and feel the mental focus take effect as I dive into what I'm doing. I don't crash, and I feel like $1,000,000 throughout the day. Reach out to Dustin today to experience how much better your professional life can be. Email him at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and get $10 off your first order. That's rockinthatidlife.com, and that email again is rockinthatidlife@gmail.com. Don't let a lack of energy keep you from being who you want to be.
Yes, and as you can see, there are a lot of different ways to stamp out thirst with refreshing Stag beer. Now, one of the most popular is this handy six-pack. People like the six-pack because it saves space in the refrigerator, lets them keep more good, cold Stag beer on hand. And you know, when you've got Stag on hand, you've got a mess.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Jeez, what is going on in the NHL today? Have you seen the scores?
No.
3 teams have put up 7 spots, and Vancouver scored 3 goals in the last minute to force overtime and won it in overtime, 6-5 over Dallas.
Whoa. Yeah.
There's no goaltending tonight.
Utah 7-0 over the Kraken, and the third period hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
Woo.
Oof.
Bruins found out how to win again, apparently, 7-2. Wow.
In
5-0
Nashville.
Penguins over the Blackhawks, 7-6. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, 7-6. You're right. No goaltending in that one.
Goaltending optional.
Yeah, Sivos Saros is playing in that one, apparently. Yeah, Canucks and Stars. Woo. Yeah, crazy night in the NHL. And my apologies for ruining that moment there as well. It wouldn't be Let's Go Blues Radio without Jeff ruining a moment before the commercial break. So
I blame our vacant producer role.
that's what it is, 100%. Well, let's get into some big NHL news, and if you've been living on a rock or under a rock, you have not heard this, but I would imagine everybody listening has. Alexander Ovechkin. He broke the goal record with his 895th 895th goal on Sunday. He scored against the Isles' Ilya Sorokin, the 183rd different goalie he had beaten. Ovechkin got number 895 in his 1,487th game, the same number Gretzky finished his goal streak with to get there. So he actually did it in one game quicker, technically, because he broke his record on the same game, which is absolutely bonkers that happened, but just another weird quirk in the NHL. Gretzky said, they say records are made to be broken, but I'm not sure who's going to get more goals than that. And then even with this one falling to Ovechkin, Gretzky holds 54 NHL records. Two seem truly untouchable, 2,857 total points and 1,963 assists, the latter of which is more than anyone else has in goals and assists combined. So when we say, and I'll say, I was one of those people who said 100%, none of Gretzky's records like that will ever be broken. And here we are. We're talking about Alexander Ovechkin. He broke the goal record. He is the greatest goal scorer in NHL history by a numbers perspective. I know you can always argue goals per game and all that, but still, can't argue numbers. But I do think points and assists, I don't see anybody ever touching that, especially ever, but definitely in our lifetimes.
No, it was definitely a product of the terrible defensive systems and goaltending of the 80s, where he racked up the majority of those points. But yeah, there's like Connor McDavid is the best player in the world right now, and he would have to play until he was 60 to come close to that. And they would probably have to outlaw goaltending at some point to help him. Those are records that won't fall. But the goal one was always in reach by somebody. I'm happy to see it happen in my lifetime. I was watching the game live when the goal was scored. And if there was one guy that was going to do it in our lifetimes, it was probably going to be Ovi, right? And to think, the other thing that doesn't get mentioned a lot, right? Gordie Howe actually probably would have had the record had he not gone to the WHA for 5-6 years, right? Yep. So that's that. But he also did play until he was 50. I think it's truly amazing feat what Ovi did.
Well, and it's
all with the team.
Yeah, one team. But yeah, you mentioned Gordie Howe playing in WHA. Now, clearly that was a little bit longer time. But Doug Paddock adds here, imagine where we would be without 2 lockouts, COVID, and breaking his leg this year. Over 1,000 ? I think he'd be right around 1,000 for sure. He would have broken this record, definitely last year, but probably 2 years ago. Because you got to figure, he missed out on what would have been his rookie season with that first lockout. So learning the game an entire year, NHL game, an entire year sooner, which means he's probably got a couple more 60-goal seasons under his belt, at least one more if that happens. So yeah, I definitely agree with Doug here that I think he would probably be around $1,000. But yeah, either way, it's still a ridiculous accomplishment. Like you, this is something I'm going to remember forever. I remember watching Wayne Gretzky's final game in the NHL. I remember that was on, I think, ABC at the time, but it was nationally broadcasted. And I remember seeing him come out and do the full lap and all that, thinking the Rangers fans. And yeah, this one is something I'm going to remember forever. I feel like the NHL did it right. I loved the just let's stop play and let's let him have his moment. And, 9 times out of 10, I am not okay with just stopping play for a ceremony. That sounds insane to me. But for something like this, absolutely bring the family out, bring the teammates out, bring out everybody, bring out Wayne Gretzky. Just everything the NHL did with this, I was totally on board with, and just an excellent moment to remember for hockey fans.
Yeah, no, I thought it was well done. Obviously they had Gretzky was kind of in tow for the 3 or 4 games leading up to this one. So you could see like if he did do it in this game and maybe win another 2 games, Gretzky's like, I'm done. I'm not traveling. I'll do a video tribute like everybody else. But no, I thought it was a very good ceremony. And I agree with you. They got it. The NHL did something correctly, this time. So good job. Gary's finally learned after 20, 30 years on the job now. So,
there was 2 tweets that I saw, or whatever they're called, posts, X's, whatever, that I saw that I thought were hilarious. One was, Alex Ovechkin actually did the impossible. He got the entire world to watch a New York Islanders game.
Yeah, Pete Blackburn.
That was a good one. Second one I saw was Wayne Gretzky now only trails Alexander Ovechkin in the NHL goal race by 1.
Yes.
It does make me wonder. I'm like, man, how awesome would it be if a non-playoff team for like the last 2 games of the year were just like, you know what? Wayne Gretzky, he's going to play our power play. Like that would be incredible.
That would be pretty hilarious. It's like that was that Mr. 3000 where he has to come back because they miscounted during his career.
Yep. Yeah. That would be so amazing. I never in a million years would that happen. Gretzky's too old. Maybe if this happened 10 years ago, there would be that consideration, but what is he, 60 now? Like that's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. He's right on his 60th birthday. So yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, just, and I've always been an Ovi fan. I know. And I'll say, this is how I feel about bands too. And I'm not sure if you are the same. I know there's some political issues going on with Gretzky and who he's friends with, and Ovechkin, who he pledges allegiance to. So I did see a fair amount of people saying like, good, now we can stop focusing on these people because of their political agendas. And I'll admit, man, when it comes to athletes and when it comes to bands, when it comes to celebrities, really, as long as they're not like out there, like, I hate to say it, I agree with a lot of what like Leonardo DiCaprio says. But I'm also like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't care what you think, Leo. Like, I don't care that a lot of what you say I agree with. You need to just go act in movies. That's what I want to see you do. I hate the stay in your lane comments, but that's kind of how I feel with a lot of these guys who just spout off like crazy. And I'll say, I don't think Gretzky does that. I don't think Ovechkin does that. So for me, I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't agree with their political agendas, but that's not why I like these people. I like them because they're excellent athletes. They're great at what they do and what they're paid to do. Gretzky is, by all accounts, seems like an excellent dude. And, he's great on TBS coverage or TNT coverage. So, yeah, I just have to say, like, I know there was a lot of that going around. That does not faze me at all. I will always love Alexander Ovechkin as long as he's not, murdering people or, like drinking and driving and, whatever he could do. He's not doing that. So I'm always going to love Ovi. I've got an Ovi jersey. We had an all-day tournament on Saturday. And I fortunately was the red team. And so I actually came out in my red Ovechkin jersey for warm-ups, and everybody's like, whoa, what are you doing? And I was like, come on, man, it's Ovi. Like, he just, at that point, he only tied the record. And, I've always been a fan of his. I just love the way he acts, the way he carries himself always heard he's such a good teammate. I don't know if you saw what he did with Marc-Andre Fleury a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
100% class act.
I just love that kind of stuff. And yeah, as a teammate, as an athlete, he is such a class act. And I will always say that Alexander Ovechkin is one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah, and just his comments in his speech, right? And he wasn't ready to give the speech, and he was asking, I forget who he asked if they wanted to talk first, and but it was wasn't all about him, right? It was about his family and the boys, and that's people talk about how vanilla, especially good Canadian boys are, and they don't have a lot of personality. Ovi's got a lot of personality, but that hockey mentality, right? That team first, even though he just set, the individual all-time goal scoring record, I appreciate that, right? And I thought that was great. And yeah, I was never, he and Crosby are going to be forever linked, right? They came into the league at the same time because of the lockout. And I always preferred Ovechkin over Crosby. Never really was a Crosby fan. Like at this point, I 100%, have, well, I won't say 100%, but I've mellowed on that. I think Crosby has, as he's matured and, stopped bitching about everything, I've begrudgingly started to respect him, but I always preferred Ovi. I thought Ovi was the more electric player. Crosby was the best all-around player of this era, but Ovi was the goal scorer. Just go back to the goal in Phoenix that he scored on Boucher, right? The tumbling over, turning the stick over. You're never going to see that, right? That is such an amazing thing and inspired so many people. It's awesome to see, and congrats.
Did you see the video that got posted? It's making its rounds I'm drawing a blank on the color commentator, but Joe Beninati of the Capitals broadcast and his longtime color commentator.
Craig Laughlin.
Thank you. Yes, Craig Laughlin. They were joking. It was like a video of them at intermission after that goal was scored against, was that not Curtis? I guess that wasn't Curtis Joseph.
I thought it was Boucher.
It was Boucher. That's who it was. Yeah. But yeah, there's a video making its rounds about how they were talking about that goal, and they're like, "Oh, it's amazing, one of the best goals we've ever seen." But Ovi, you've got a long way to go to catch Gretzky. And then they both start laughing, and you hear like Laughlin go like, "Yeah, 850 more there, Ovi," and they just kept laughing, and I'm like, yeah, he actually does pull it off, boys.
Yeah, he gets the last laugh.
Impossible, but you can see why they were laughing about it. 850 more goals, Ovi. Yeah, right. But here we are, 895. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I did love. Yeah, I guess you saw what Curtis Joseph posted today, correct?
The Budweiser sent beers to all the goalies that.
So they sent the Bud Light Zero, which is the zero alcohol version, because they allowed 0 goals on Alexander Ovechkin. So they sent them to all the goalies that played against him that did not give up goals, which I think is brilliant marketing. It's made its rounds like crazy. It even had a guy like Eddie Lack. I don't know if you saw his response.
No,
he said, "Well, damn, if I knew they were going to hand out beer, I would have tried harder against Ovechkin."
I love Eddie Lack. He is such a great character.
But yes, so congratulations to Alexander Ovechkin and all the Capitals fans who have seen every one of his goals. Absolutely tremendous, and we'll never see a player like Ovechkin again. He's not the hitter that he used to be. He used to be. I remember even then saying like, "There's no way he matches any record like that. He can't keep up that style of play." Yeah. But he found a way. He molded his game into what he needed to be in his older years. He's still effective. He still fights for pucks. He still is going to battle in front of the net, but he's not the big crasher and banger flying around hitting people like he used to be. And he doesn't need to be. He's got Tom Wilson on his roster to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was a big thing, changing the trajectory of his career was getting somebody in there to take care of that. And couldn't have found a nicer guy than Tom Wilson.
Yeah, no kidding. Our friend Justin Scott in the chat. Justin, good to see you again. He says, Ovi doesn't play a lick of defense, but his great personality makes up for it. You know who else didn't play defense when he was a Blue? Brett Hull. And guess what? He had quite the fucking career. So I'm okay with it.
Yep, 100%.
All right, let's get into some more Blues talk. Robert Thomas was named the NHL Third Star of the Week. In 3 wins this week, he recorded 7 points, including 2 goals and 5 assists. We are going to mention Robert Thomas many, many times in this episode, but a very well-deserved, again, 7 points in 3 games. Not too shabby for the Blues top-line center.
Yeah, no, Tomer was on fire. Unfortunately, it came a week too late to help my fantasy team as I got bounced. But yeah, he was every time he looked up, right? He's got the puck. He's, even going back to the Montreal game, right? That snipe on Mountain Bowl. It was the same snipe on Jari, right? Just thing of beauty. The setups, the last night's game or the Avalanche game, the dish to Neighbors, absolute thing of beauty. Right. And we haven't seen the comments enough, I don't think, but he's elite. He's elite.
Right. Yeah, I will say, and I think I've said this on the show before, that I'm amazed at how much work he's had to have put into his shot. I feel like when he came up, his shot was, not elite, but not even average. I remember seeing him shoot his rookie season and even his first, second and third seasons. I remember just thinking like, oh my God, unless he's like sneaking it 5-hole, this dude is not going to score 20 goals every season. No way. Like, he's an Adam Oates. He's a guy who's got to pass the puck every chance he gets because he doesn't have a shot. Although Oates actually did have a shot, but he never used it. Same as Thomas, we're learning now. I was just like, man, pass the puck every time, Tomer, because you don't have a shot. But man, I feel like probably around 2022-ish, we started seeing him shoot more and with more velocity and much better accuracy. And now we're seeing him. You mentioned the goals against Montembeault and Jari. These are elite shots. Literally elite. Like, you're seeing these shots and you're like, okay, that is a top 10 shot in the league, wrist shot. And it's crazy to see that progression. Again, you see players improve from the rookie season, don't get me wrong, but like that aspect of the game, a lot of times it's like that kind of velocity and even like ability to pick the corner or whatever, you see that rookie season and it doesn't really change. It's the other aspects of the game that change. But for Thomas, it's like he already had all the other aspects. He just needed to improve his shot, and he has. And man, he is a guy that, like, when he has time and you give him space, he's going to pick the corner on every single goalie in the NHL.
Yeah, think back to the earlier parts of the season when he would get a breakaway or partial break, come down and go blocker side, right? He's got that shot in his repertoire. But, seeing him go top Ched, bar down on, 2 pretty good goalies, it's pretty awesome. Awesome to see. And Justin brings up he was robbed of a 5-point game against Colorado. He did have one of his assists taken away, and I think we can talk about that play where it got taken away when we get to that game.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about the Blues defeating Pittsburgh 5-4 in overtime on Thursday. That matched their franchise record 11-game win streak. They won their 10th in a row at home, and they previously had won 11 in a row from January 23rd to February 19th, 2019. the season they went on to win the Stanley Cup. This also matched the Winnipeg Jets' longest winning streak in the NHL this season, which was the longest by any team. So obviously we'll talk about the Avalanche game here in a minute, but very impressive to see them tie their franchise record. Now, it wasn't exactly in the best way. We didn't really like how this game truly, well, at least let's say how regulation ended. Blues had a 2-goal lead and gave up 2 goals late to tie this game, but still a very exciting game, and to see them get that 11th win at home as well in overtime, very exciting for Blues fans, especially in attendance.
Yeah, the way the game kind of shook down, and I know you've got it in the outline. Montgomery not happy with the overall performance of the game, but yeah, I thought I didn't like Hofer's game in this one. That first goal, Brian Rust, like Hofer bit on a fake when he already had the post, and he like slid almost to the corner and gave him the entire net. That was like, okay, he glitched. That was not good.
I didn't like Jake Neighbors on that goal either,
or Justin Falk.
Yeah, the Blues did not play that goal well at all. And I was sitting there watching with some friends, and everybody's like, what the hell, like yank all those guys.
Yeah, it's the game didn't feel right. And I think if Tristan Jarry had the same kind of game he had when we were in Pittsburgh right before the streak started, it's a different outcome. But luckily for the Blues, we played a subpar goaltender that night.
Yep. And I agree with you on Hofer. I thought I'm trying to blank on who scored on the goal mouth scramble when the puck was loose
at the end of the game.
Goal. Yeah.
Trying to think. So McGroarty got the tying goal, which was another Justin Falk.
And I didn't really like Hofer on that one either.
No,
I feel like he kind of bit on
he
that
did
one
not.
as well.
Yeah, he didn't seal the ice with the pad, and it wasn't very good. But yeah.
Let's see here. It was. Yeah, so the one on the stuff-in was Ricard Raquel. That's right. And, Rutger McGroarty ties it up with 25 ticks on the clock. I didn't like either of those either. And so I didn't like the first, third, or fourth goals that he gave up. But again, Blues are having some issues closing up games, and that is very concerning. Well, you mentioned Montgomery. His exact quote was, "We have won all different kinds of games, but I'm not happy that we're up 4-2 in the third and we went to overtime. We have to close out games. We have to get better." It's so funny to hear a coach say that when your team's on an 11-game winning streak. But he's right. The Blues had this game in the bag. They were dominating play late in pretty much the second period. They played great defense for the most of the third period. And then they just scrambled and let those 2 goals, in late. And it's just, you can't let that happen. And we saw it again in the next game against Colorado, which we'll talk about in a minute. But very concerning to see that from the Blues. So I get where Montgomery is coming from. But the Blues did capitalize when they got their chances. Only 19 shots on goal, and they did score 14. They didn't score 14. They scored 5. And we mentioned Thomas's goal. This was the one that the game that Neighbors had the hilarious in the net shot, right? You saw the picture of him inside the net.
Are we on the Colorado game?
Oh, was that the Colorado game?
That was the Colorado game.
Okay, my bad. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, just Neighbors did have 2 goals in this game. Kyrou also had a goal and an assist. Also worth mentioning on Kairou's goal, Snuggerud assisted for his first NHL point in his second game for the Blues. A beautiful pass across the crease, and obviously Blues, get a big goal there from Snuggerud's pass. But looking more and more comfortable, I feel like, as the games have gone on.
Right. It was his second game, right? Second or third game in the league. They made a point of that at the beginning, and yeah, he his speed on that play, pushing the play and allowing Neighbors to break to the far post and hitting with a perfect pass. He shows that he is NHL ready. Loved that goal.
I am pouring my second beer, which I think you'll be excited to see what my second beer is. So I'll have two since you can't have one tonight.
That's right.
This
Drink
is
one for me. Ooh, pseudo soup.
Ooh, yeah, I love this stuff.
Yeah.
This is from Goliath Brewing, which is in
Decorah, Iowa.
Iowa, yeah, Iowa.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I actually just looked that up the other day. Like, how long would a road trip to Decorah be? 6 hours. So
that's not too bad.
It's not too good either.
No, yeah, I mean that is driving through the Midwest, which is not fun.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, you need to step away for a second. No problem.
One quick second.
All right, so we will continue on talking. Let me change the setup here real quick so you can actually see my beautiful face. Here we go. So we got in the chat here. We have got let's see. Blue Note fan report. Our friend Guy over in Hawaii says just wanted to say hi. We should do a collab. Hope spent too much time out of the net. Yeah, there was a lot of that. I do like the Blues' goaltending, being able to step up and basically be a third defenseman back there. But there are games where I'm just kind of like, okay, guys, let's stay in the crease a little bit. You're making me nervous. And then Justin Scott in the chat as well says, I think the Blues have had a great run, but I truly feel if you find a weakness of Parayko being out, it's the late goals. I mean, I can't say it changes for sure, but when you think about it, I think that's where Parayko has missed closing out games, and he's asked thoughts. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's your number one defenseman. He's going to be playing in those late game situations. And so yeah, if he's going to be out, that's where you're going to notice it. That's where it's like, okay, Colton Parayko hopefully would be in front there tying up a stick. We'll talk about the Colorado game here in a minute, but like Nathan McKinnon's goal skating in from the wing, you would hope Parayko's picking him up. So yeah, I think I do agree with that you're missing your number one defenseman. Games like that'll happen, but you still want guys to step up like a Broberg, like a Falk. And we're just not seeing that right now late in games.
Yeah, and I think apart from that, just not having your number one guy on the ice at that time is that the extra minutes that guys like Falk are picking up right now because Parayko's not there, and you don't have another reliable right-hand defenseman to come in at this point. I think seeing the cumulative effect of the extra minutes on Falk is shown in the last 4 or 5 games. Looking at the advanced stats on the hockey stat cards, he was the worst skater on the Blues in the Penguins game and in the Jets game last night. So it would be awesome if these jackass Flames would lose and get eliminated so that we could rest them up. I think it would be good for this team if we could get a couple of games where, you bring up a Lindstein, you bring up Kessel, and you let players get rest. And whether we finish, second wild card or first wild card, get these older defensemen some rest.
Yeah, I think even like a Nick Leddy might benefit from that, which I think he's actually played fine. But yeah, just getting him a rest. And I'm thinking of like even like an Oscar Sundqvist. Getting him a couple games off, I think, would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Even maybe like a Radek Faksa. These guys have been playing all year. They've played well. Give them a little bit of a break. Now, luckily, there is usually a pretty decent break between the last game and the first game of the playoffs. And I think there is at least, I want to say, I don't know for sure, I'm pretty sure there's 2 days left in the regular season after the Blues play in their final game. Could be wrong on that, but I think that kind of adds to it too, that the Blues are allowed basically to take 2 extra days, which only helps getting Colton Parayko back. And unfortunately, Dylan Holloway, this was the game he was hurt. sustained a lower body injury in the first period. He was checked in the offensive zone by Rudger McGroarty at 17:09. Took another shift, but did not return after that. Spoiler alert, have not seen him since. Chances are he will not be back at least till the start of the playoffs. Don't know if you've seen Bill. Who was it? I think it was it 32 Thoughts? Somebody said, one of the kind of know-it-all NHL guys did say that they're here. What they've heard about Holloway is not good, and at the very best, they're hoping for first game of the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, from I think the morning that it was initially announced, it was day to day, but then by the end of that day, it was, oh no, he's week to week. And this time of year, week to week is not what you want to hear.
No.
Considering there are 2 weeks left in the playoffs or till the playoffs at that point. So,
yep. All right, let's talk about the Blues and Avalanche on Saturday. The Blues won this one 5-4 in regulation, which is helpful for tiebreakers, by the way. Blues set a franchise record with their 12th straight win. They tied the mark originally set by the 2019 Cup winning team that won 11 in a row, and then obviously added to it with their 12th win. It's also the longest winning streak in the NHL this season, passing the Winnipeg Jets. They, in this game, also moved 4 points ahead of the Minnesota Wild for the first wild card spot. Excuse me. And they've outscored their opponents 51-22 during their 12-game winning streak. We mentioned Robert Thomas getting third star of the week honors. In this game, he had a goal and 3 assists that extended his point streak to 8 games, in which he's had 4 goals and 15 assists. So 19 points in 8 games, which is just ridiculous. Zach Bolduc added 2 power play goals. Cam Fowler also had 3 assists. And Jordan Binnington, I thought, played. Now, again, you'd like to see your goalie maybe step up at the end of the game. You want to see him make some of those big saves late. But he did face 39 shots, made 35 saves, had to make 17 in the first period, did shut out Colorado in that first period. But I thought played well. But again, I think you want to see him in the absence of Parayko. Yes, you still want to see your goalie step up and make some big saves late there in the game.
Yeah, no, it was a tale of 2 games for him, but at the end of the day, he was able to get us the win in this game, right? He was strong enough down the stretch to keep them from tying it, although it was close, right? After the Blues got the empty net goal, they scored with 5.6 seconds. What terrible defending by the Blues on that play, though. Just allowed Sam Malinsky to walk down to the ladies' tee, and nobody, like, I think Foxa at the last second tried to throw his body in front of it. Just not a good look for the Blues defense on that play. But overall, I thought Binnington was the better goaltender throughout most of this game. I thought the Blues did a great job of capitalizing. And, you know, I think that, you know, the one play that I wanted to talk about in this one was the play where they took away the assist from Robert Thomas. This is on the Buchnevich goal. And at first I was like, oh, there's no way you can take that assist away. But if you go back and watch this play, it is a brilliant play by Snuggerud. He picked, Thomas causes the turnover, McKinnon takes it away, but Snuggerud pulls it off of McKinnon's stick. And for him to do that in his third game in the NHL, thing of beauty. Right, and that backhand pass to Buchnevich, yeah. So now when I go back and watch that, I'm not so upset that Thomas lost that 4th assist on that play, because it was such a beautiful individual effort by Snuggerud.
Well, and I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate here, and I know Justin Scott's going to want to yell at me. He says, my boy Robert Thomas was robbed. He deserved that 5th point. I get the sentiment, but understanding the job of the scorekeeper, I actually get why Robert Thomas was not awarded an assist. When he helped steal the puck, he never actually touched the puck. Now, he did at one point have the puck and lost it. But again, I think the Avalanche had enough possession to where that wiped out any play before. Again, he helped with the turnover, but he never touched the puck. That was all Snuggerud. So I understand. Now, I have seen in the past that scorekeepers have still given that assist, but I think by the rule of the book, I think I get why Robert Thomas did not receive an assist there. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's all about the play Jimmy Snuggerud made. And again, it's not like he's looking at McKinnon on the back of the jersey and he's like, oh, can't touch that guy. So I'm not saying that's how it is, but at the same time, you feel a level of intimidation. I mean, I play against in beer league, and Bill, I know you have too. I play against guys who are better than me and who have been around, clearly have played longer than me and are better skaters, better puck handlers, better passers. And you feel that level of intimidation where you're like, oh, okay, this guy's coming in one-on-one on me. I got to make the right play or I'm going to look stupid. Don't fall on your ass, kind of thing. And it's the same here for Snuggerud. He's looking at Nathan McKinnon with the puck, one of the greatest players in the NHL right now, if not to even say one of the best in the game to ever play. And he's stealing the puck from him like he's nobody, like he's some fourth line bender that got called up for this game for his, first NHL game in 5 years, like he just strips that puck away, makes the smart pass in front. And even kind of, I hate to use the term sacrifice his body, but I mean, he put his whole body into that pass to make sure it got across and away from McKinnon and put it right on the tape for Pavel Buchnevich, who made no mistake.
Right. And, the aftermath of that goal, right? Buchnevich is just, in awe of the pass and, pointing at Snuggie and, saying, that just holy cow, what an amazing play. Can't believe you're on my line already. That's beautiful. But on the flip side, McKinnon, did you see his reaction? He's like going skates to the front of the net and he's going I gotta be stronger on my stick. Right. And he realized he just got beat by a rookie. And that was a priceless reaction. But yeah, that was awesome. Zach Bolduc, God, he's got the Avalanche number. So if we face them in the playoffs, I'm looking forward to that matchup. That second goal, I think that was a miscommunication between Coyle and Lindgren, where neither one of them, they're brand new on that team from the trade deadline, still haven't got their bearings. Who's going to cover him? Neither of us. Okay, that gives him that extra second just to step back, realize there's a screen, and snipe the blocker side. Thought that was a great play by Bolduc.
Yep. And yeah, you're right. The are you talking about the
second Bolduc goal?
Oh, the second Bolduc goal. Okay, I thought you meant second goal overall, which was Jake Neighbors.
Yeah. That one we should talk about.
Yeah, well, you already brought up the second Bolduc goal. I agree with you. And talking about Bolduc in general on the power play, they love him in that slot bumper spot where they can feed him a pass in the slot and he'll one-time it. That is a play they love. And obviously it's worked. Bolduc scored, a couple goals in that spot. And it's worked for the power play. I mean, he's been a great power play addition for this team. I'm loving what we've seen from Bolduc right now as well. Obviously the love is going to Snuggerud for what we've seen recently, but since Montgomery's taken over, holy cow, Bolduc has been on another level. We're seeing exactly what the Blues thought they were getting. For me, the interesting part for Bolduc is I do think, and I know we make jokes all the time about, they've got tape on this guy now. There is a level of that's true, though, that I think over the offseason, especially teams in the Central Division, are going to be like, look, they're lining Bolduc up in the slot. He's firing it every time. If he's not scoring, someone's getting the rebound and getting a good chance. We just got to make sure that doesn't happen. So the 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 spot where it's going to be like, okay, how does Bolduc respond to this? How does he find ways to still find that what they call soft ice? And I think that is what makes a great NHL player. Again, we mentioned Ovechkin earlier tonight. We all know he scores from that circle 9 times out of 10. And it's, and everybody's response is, why not just put a guy on him there at all times? It's not that easy because Ovechkin uses the whole rink and makes you think he's going somewhere else, but then he always ends up lying in the same spot because he's an elusive, smart hockey player. And I think it's the same with Bolduc. I think that if he can, and again, not trying to say Bolduc's going to be Ovechkin, but if Bolduc can figure out how to find that ice still, even when teams know where he's going to line up, that is what's going to make him a difference maker. So, yes, right now it is great to see, and I love it. And I hope we see him get to 20 because I know that was his goal. But I think next year is going to be really interesting for him to see if he can still figure out how to score these big goals from a similar spot especially on the power play.
Yeah, everybody will adapt, and he's got to do the same. Agree with that 100%.
Yep. So we mentioned Bolduc with his 2 power play goals, Cam Fowler with 3 assists. Jordan Binnington did make his 7th consecutive start. Won his 7th consecutive start. He also won his 10th straight start at home to set a new franchise record. And Mackenzie Blackwood was in net, and I thought played okay, but 4 goals on 21 shots for him.
Yeah, he had a couple of good saves, but at the point the Blues have 4 goals on 14 shots, that's not a good game, right?
Yeah.
So
right. Yep. And then the neighbor's goal you mentioned, again, that was the one with the funny picture. If you haven't seen it, folks, loved it. One of my favorite pictures we've seen all season. It was literally him scoring the goal and then kind of falling into the net, bent over. And I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but he smiles right into the goal cam. And it's a great shot.
Yeah, the Blues social media team captioned it. Camera stare down level expert. Yeah,
that was fantastic.
Yeah, best picture coming out of the NHL out of the Blues for the week.
Yep, agreed. And man, it's just so funny. We're sitting here talking about Bolduc and Stuggerud, and even like Dvorsky, a guy who's come up and played well, and hoping he'll get some time here in the next couple games. You almost forget about Jake Neighbors. He's still a young man, and he's having another good season. It's like the Blues really are destined to have some excellent forwards here in the next couple of years. Someone is going to get moved. I'm going to warn you right now, Blues fans. Don't get too attached to some of these guys because they're going to have to make a move at some point, because if all these guys hit, which right now it seems like they're going to, one of them, you can't afford them all. I think you're going to have to move one of them at some point. But either way, you got to have fun with it now, and it's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and they're going to have to start doing something to address the elderly population on the back end of this team.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, Theo Lindstein, I'd love to see him get some time. Leo Loof is another guy that I'd love to see get some time too. But, again, I have to credit Doug Armstrong, because we said even what, 8 months ago, or even like, man, you're stuck with this defense for the next couple of years. What are you going to do?
Yeah, but
not really the case.
Right. The addition of Cam Fowler, right. Like, how many middle-aged defensemen could this team have? But that was like, I feel like the stroke of genius that he made during the season. Obviously, the offer sheets in the off season, the biggest thing, but bringing in Cam Fowler and like seeing him settle down, like he had great chemistry with Parayko, and now he's making Nick Leddy look good. It's awesome to watch, but yeah, I am concerned for how much they're getting played at this point with Parayko out. So yeah, let's get this damn thing wrapped up and give some of these guys a little extra break.
Yep, agree. Yeah, we got a couple comments here from our friend Justin Scott. Let me get to a couple of them here. Talking about Robert Thomas getting robbed of that assist. He says, I understand why he didn't get it, but I just wanted it so bad because fuck the Avalanche and their dumbass fans. Yeah, I think we can all agree with that here in Blues Nation. Avs fans did nothing but bitch about refs. And then he also says he tied the record. I think that was for Binnington winning his 10th straight start on home ice. Is that true? Did he only tie it? I thought he said it.
That's a good question.
I will look that up here in a minute.
Only we had a producer.
I pulled that from NHL.com, so they might be wrong, but I will look and double check that. Justin Scott also says it can be talking about the defense. It can be elderly all they want, Bill. They have been fantastic for the most part, even with Parayko out. Yeah, I think you agree with that. It's just like you said, I agree. Going into the playoffs, you want to get some of these older statesmen a little bit more of a rest.
And my comment's really about to go forward after this season, right? They're all going to be another year older, and we have an apparent surplus on the front end of this team. So feeding into your comment about somebody's going to get moved.
Yep. All right. I am looking. We'll find it. All right. I'll look that up in a minute. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on talking about the Jets and the Blues last night. Unfortunately, the Blues' winning streak has ended. The Winnipeg Jets ended this one with a 3-1 win. The Jets set their franchise record for wins in a season with 53. They are a buzzsaw right now, so it's an interesting time to be a Central Division fan to watch the Jets. Bill, you said last week that you wanted the Jets in the first round. I actually agree with you still on that, but do you still feel that way? And I asked that with the caveat, they've been very, very good, but as you said last week, Connor Hellebuck has not been a playoff goalie.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
What are your thoughts? You still agree with that thought?
So last night was a tight game, and I thought Winnipeg dominated for the most part. Obviously, we're missing two key pieces with Holloway and Parayko out. Don't think we would have Parayko back for a first-round series against the Jets. But I thought the fact that we could go into their building and keep it, we almost tied it in the last 20 seconds. It was still a close game, and we had our 1B goalie in. I like our matchup against them. But at the same time, getting a little, time against the weaker Pacific Division wouldn't be a bad thing either. We've never faced the Golden Knights in a playoff series. The only thing I worry about that is Mark Stone injuring 5 people in the first game. But yeah, I mean, I was perturbed. I'm obviously upset. Didn't want the Blues to lose the streak. But I think they'd been a little wobbly the games leading into this, and I wasn't surprised they didn't pull out the win. But I still think we would do pretty damn good in a 7-game series against that team, especially given their track record. So long-winded, yes.
I want to say, I don't know if this is true. Let me look it up here. Okay, I am wrong. I thought there was a season that Mark Stone was a finalist for the Lady Byng, which I'm like, what? But he has not been.
It was the Masterton, right? When he came back from the neck injury.
That had to be a good call. That's what I was thinking of. Because I'm like, I was thinking that in my head just now, and I'm like, no way, that dude is such a piece of shit. Which he still is. Yeah, and I'm
He's
with
the
you.
McMurray of the NHL.
I would love to play Winnipeg just to play Winnipeg. Like you go back to that 2019 series, that was so much fun. And I know it made us put our stomach in knots, but it was fun to watch those two teams play. I'd love to see it again, but yes, I do agree. If we're talking about an easier path to win a couple rounds, you want to be the Pacific Division winner, which sounds hilarious. But
Wow.
put them in the Pacific, play against Vegas, play against Edmonton, play against LA. Blues have played those teams very well this season. And none of those teams are played in this winning streak either. So
Yeah.
I feel like they could play well against all three of those teams.
Yeah, I do worry a little bit if Colorado and Vegas are playing now, and if LA surpassed Vegas, I don't think I'd want a first round matchup with LA.
Really? Okay.
No.
Blues played well this year.
But since they picked up Kuzmenko at the trade deadline, their power play is lethal, and we would struggle without Parayko.
Yeah, you can't play Tyler Tucker if you're playing the Kings.
No,
because he would get way too many penalties.
Oh yeah.
And so I do want to add, Binnington won his 10th straight start on home ice to set a franchise record. That is straight from NHL.com. So I'm sorry, Justin, I am going to side with NHL.com. But if you have proof that is not the case, please share it, and I will gladly tell the world that you are right and NHL is incorrect. All right, so Pavel Buchnevich scored the lone goal in this game. Excuse me. Robert Thomas did assist on Buchnevich's goal, giving him 4 goals and 16 assists for 20 points in a 9-game point streak. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And in this game, let me ask you. Now, I think he played great. I actually loved how Joel Hofer played. I thought he played big. That's been my problem with him is that, and I know it's easy to boil this down, but for me, it's like when he's playing well, he looks big in net. When he's not playing well, he looks tiny in net. He looks like fucking Arders Urbe. So I liked his game in this, but I did not like him getting the start here. I thought you are playing. First of all, you're on a crazy win streak. To me, you ride your starter at this point in the season. And maybe by the end of the year, the last game of the year against Utah, maybe you say that's Hofer's game. Give Binnington a little bit more of a rest. But you're playing a division rival. These are important points still. You have not clinched a playoff spot. Yes. Will you? Good chance, yes. But you still haven't. So to me, you start your starter against the top division team in the Central, and the Blues didn't do that. They went with Hofer. I know we bitched about goaltending all year. Oh, I'm sorry, goaltending decisions all year with the coaching staff. I hated this. I thought, why the fuck are you playing your backup against the Jets? Did you have the same thought?
Well, not backup, 1B. He's a 1B, Jeff. He's not a backup.
Oh, sorry.
I gave up 3 weeks ago trying to figure out who's going to get starts and, just going with who I would prefer. Hofer had a great game in December in that building. And what I didn't like is him coming in 2 games at, Binnington only got 1 start in there. And Hofer's start against Pittsburgh wasn't great. So I was worried, but after the first period, I was like, this works.
He played very well. And again, I get the whole 1A, 1B thing, but for me, it's like you're almost at the playoffs. You haven't clinched yet. To me, you're right, your starter for this game. But again, hard to really make an argument when Hofer played so well. 23 saves on 25 shots. Really kept the Blues in this with some really good saves down the stretch. Connor Hellebuck, I said this on the Let's Go Blues Minute. He looked like a Vezina Trophy goalie in this game, but when you only shovel 15 shots at the guy, he's going to be dialed in and ready for you. So 14 saves for him. But still, overall, I thought well goaltended, well defended game by Winnipeg. I thought, man, they were just in every single lane. This was Winnipeg Jets hockey we've seen pretty much for the whole season. Blues just could not match them in this game. Now, again, I do think playoffs are a different animal, but this was a game that was dominated to me by the Winnipeg Jets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they shut the Blues down. Their defensive game was a lot better than the Blues. Kept the Blues out of the middle of the ice, which had been key to so many of the Blues wins during the win streak. And at the end of the day, I don't think it came down to goaltending. The winning goal in this game by Iafallo, kind of, the Jets had run that same play where they get cut. It was a bad turnover by Bushnevich on the winner. He turns it over. Puck should have been out of the zone. Goes to Kyle Connor, who dominates the Blues. He gets control of that puck, stick handles for 10, 15 seconds, allows Scheifele and Iafallo to get to the center of the ice, shovels the puck towards the net. Justin Falk misses the puck when it's laying right there, and Iafallo shovels it into the empty side. They took advantage of a bad turnover and not great defensive coverage. Can't fault Hofer. He made the first save, and defense should have cleared it away. But that wound up being the difference in the game. Obviously the Blues had the chance at the end of the game after Appleton missed the empty net. The Blues got it back down the other way. But a split second hesitation by Robert Thomas turned that puck over at the blue line. That's where you cannot hesitate. You just got to throw it in, and he didn't do it. And they come back and Lowry gets the empty netter.
Yep, and multiple errors, I thought, on that game-winning goal. You mentioned Buchnevich with the turnover, Falk not getting to the puck when it was laying there for him. I thought a couple missed coverages as well. I just thought, the Blues really didn't play well, and against a team like, you might get away with that against San Jose and even mid-tier teams like a Pittsburgh or a Boston, but like you're not going to get away with that against Winnipeg. You have multiple chances to clear and you don't do it in the same shift, you're going to get burned. And that's what Winnipeg did. I just thought the Blues couldn't really match Winnipeg's intensity in this game. Mm-hmm. They were after every loose puck. Every time the Blues had the puck, behind their net or along the boards, there was a Winnipeg player right there on top of them. They basically beat the Blues at their own game in this, I thought. A lot of great forechecks from the Winnipeg forwards. Blues did some good stuff. There's a couple times the WTF line stepped out, and they had some really good forechecks and led to some offensive pressure. But at the end of the day, I thought this was Winnipeg being a masterclass at the Central Division and just honestly playing a better game than St. Louis, which, hey, 12-game winning streak, you're not going to win them all. This was bound to happen. And to be honest, and I saw somebody else say this too, I'm kind of glad this game happened when it did. The Blues end the season winning, I guess that would have been 16-game win streak. That actually makes me a little nervous going into the playoffs. I don't want them to have that much swagger. I want them to be kind of humbled a little bit and be like, oh, hey, guys, we still got to play damn good hockey to beat these teams. So for me, it's like, yes, I would have preferred the win. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, I think getting humbled a little bit before the last 3 games of the season might actually be a little helpful in coaching some of these young players.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Obviously, we started getting that feeling from 2019 again, and like, oh, this team's never going to lose, and but that we talked about how they didn't look good against Pittsburgh, and they looked okay against Winnipeg, but Winnipeg was definitely the better team in that game last night. I think there are parts of their game that they need to tweak and work out, and hopefully, we'll be able to fill in the lost contributions of Holloway down the stretch. Like you said, Dvorsky, saw he got called up again. Hopefully he'll get in. Looking ahead, we got Edmonton tomorrow night, and Edmonton is very short-handed right now. They handed Olivier Domingue, Rodrigue. It's not Rodriguez. Rodrigue.
And it's also not Louis Domingue.
Right. It's so hard not to make that mistake. And I you made a mistake earlier. I'll make one. But yeah, so he got that start last night. Not sure if they're going to go with him or if it's going to be Pickard tomorrow night, but still no McDavid, still no, I think Dreisaitl's out. So we're catching them at a good time that hopefully we can, correct some of the mistakes in our game and get a not, I don't want to say an easy win, but we don't have to beat McDavid tomorrow night. And I think it's a good opportunity just to quickly right the wrongs that have been coming into the game.
Yep. So you mentioned tomorrow night, Blues play the Edmonton Oilers at 9:00, St. Louis time, that is. Saturday, April 12th, they play the Seattle Kraken again on the road at 9:00. Tuesday, they come home for the final game of the regular season, April 15th, against the Utah Coyotes at 7:00. And after that, playoffs. I would imagine we'll have a show on Wednesday next week. I know I can't do the show, but I would imagine hopefully you're available, and I think Kurt is too. So you guys will be running our kind of regular season recap show, whatever you want to call it. More of a playoff preview, I would hope. Nobody really wants to hear like, oh, well, and they played this game in November. Nobody cares
right.
about it.
No, we would do a season recap if we weren't making the playoffs.
That's true.
Which if we miss at this point, it would be the most colossal failure of all time. We're 96%, I think, as of this morning on Money Puck. So, it'll happen. We'll probably, do a wrap up of whatever the Arizona game or the Utah game, sorry. Do the preview for what's to come.
I'll be in the state of the state that loves hockey the most, Texas, for work. So that's a joke, of course. I'm going to Austin too. I'm not even going to Dallas. So I mentioned to somebody in Dallas or in Austin, who I'll be going to work with a little bit next week. Something about like, oh yeah, the Stars, they're having a good year. We'll see where they go. And how far into the season are they? And I'm like, oh boy, This is how everyone in Austin is, huh? No idea what's going on in the NHL. So that'll be interesting to be there for the end of the regular season. But either way, I'll find a sports bar if I have to. I will be watching that game.
Yeah. Austin's a great city. They used to have a team called the Ice Bats. I don't know if they're still there.
I don't think so.
But yeah.
Ice Bats. That's an interesting team name. Let's see. Maybe they are still around. Look at this. You're right. I wonder if they have a game. No games. Damn.
Yeah.
I think their season's over.
Season's probably over at this point.
Yep. Oh, well. All right. Well, I also want to get to Justin Scott's comment here. He says Holloway was a big loss against Winnipeg. The guy has shown time and time again that he has shined in big moments. Maybe you still lose, but Holloway adds a lot of speed, especially against Winnipeg. I agree. I do think even with the win against Colorado, and well, technically the win against Pittsburgh too, since he only played in the first period. I think there was an element that was missing. I think they're trying to fill that with Stuggerud, and he's looked good, but I mean, the kid's played in 3 NHL games at this point. You can only ask so much of him. But yeah, oh God, Joe Schmo. The reason, I guess, for the name of that team name, the Austin
Ice
what are they
Bats.
called? Ice Bats. They have the largest urban bat population. Whoa. I did not know that. Ace Ventura would hate it there. I hope people understood that reference. Yeah, I agree with Holloway. I think that element was missing a little bit, which is crazy to say, because it's like it's one player. 2, it's not Sidney Crosby, but like he does add this element to the top 6 that the Blues just did not have last year.
Yeah, he makes that second line so effective. Like the difference between that line with Neighbors in his place, like there's not enough speed and Kairu's not getting open. Like Kairu isn't getting as many opportunities, so it's been a big loss.
Yep, agree. Yeah, I do think that and I think that's part of the reason that we've seen, a lot of people get upset with Kairu is because he hasn't been getting those goal scoring opportunities. And I don't want to take anything away from him by saying this, but I do think when you're like kind of the only gun, you're just not going to get those opportunities. And until Montgomery came in and we started seeing more of a surge from Bolduc and Holloway, he was getting all of the defensive pressure. And that's why I think we've seen him kind of come back to the guy we knew he could be since Montgomery's taken over. So, yeah, losing a guy like Holloway. Now, again, I think we'll see him shine even more once we get a Dvorsky full-time, a Snuggerud full-time, again, a Bolduc. I don't know what the hell is going on with Zach Dean, but maybe if he finds a way to come back up to the NHL, maybe we'll see. But, yeah, I do think that is part of it, why Kairu has not gotten the opportunities. We've seen him get the most of the season the last 2 games. Bill, anything to add?
No. Just happy that we are on what appears to be the right side of the ledger after our bad picks saying we were going to be on the outside looking in, just outside of that wild card position. This amazing 12-game win streak, great thing to see. Perfect time of year for it to happen, and we're going to get playoff hockey. Sad it's over, the streak that is, but we get playoff hockey. Almost guaranteed, not 100%.
I'm going to disagree that our picks were not bad. I don't think our picks were bad. I think our picks were very close. The bad picks were the people who are paid to comment on the NHL.
The Dom Lecisions at 81%,
Dom Lecision, who said this
81
team,
points.
He said this team was basically going to be a bottom dweller. I think we all said absolutely not. That's ridiculous. When you got teams like Chicago in this division and even Utah to a certain extent, and this year Nashville. But yeah, I think our picks were very close. I said they'd finish around the same point total that they had last year, and that's not crazy. They had 93 points last year, and they're gonna be right around there.
Yeah. If they would have won last night, they would have been at 93, right? I think that's So, yeah, no, it's going to be a great feeling, and I am looking forward to some more really good hockey. Right, we got Frozen Four. We'll both be there at least for one of the games.
Yeah, I'm hoping at least 2, but
yeah,
I will definitely be at the championship. I know that much.
Yeah, so yeah. Hit us up on social media if we have Wi-Fi access and all that. We'll meet up.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I will. I get the press access, so I will
Oh.
definitely have Wi-Fi.
Nice.
But yeah, we will be
to
there.
share that with me.
I can actually. I'll do that off the air. Sorry, everybody else. All right. Well, I think, and again, hopefully, like Bill said, if you're at any of the NCAA games, please reach out to us on social media. We'd love to meet up with you. Thanks to our amazing sponsors, StrikeWithMike.com and RockinThatIDLife.com. That'll wrap up episode 28 of season 14 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening. Thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We'll talk to you next week. For Bill Day and Kurt Price, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. RIP to our fallen family members in the Blues Nation and to everyone who knew them and loved them. But until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
A Mark Goodson television production.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
I found prints! No, fingerprints. I don't think so.
Kmart is more than any store you have known before. Kmart means you get quality. It's red